I've been absent because I took a little bit of a break recently. I did a few shows in June, and now that it's July and school is out for my 5 kids, that's right, when I'm joking about having 5 kids on stage, it's serious. I do have 5 kids, right? So I'm always hanging out with them, especially during the summer. And yeah, but I recently received some great news regarding stand up comedy. Starting on September 19th at the Red Deer Memorial Center, I have the opportunity, the pleasure, to open up for hypnotist Scott Ward, an Indigenous hypnotist who's been performing hypnosis for 25 years. He's been all over this great globe of ours here in North America. He's been in Vegas, and he's got so many accolades, I can't name them all. Scott has requested to work with me, and he wants me to open up his hypnosis show with 15-20 minutes of comedy. And I'm going on a little mini tour with Scott, going from Red Deer, St. Albert, hopefully ending at the Grand Prairie Douglas J. Cardinal Theatre. And that's at the GP Polytechnic, which I'm looking forward to that, because last time I was in Grand Prairie, Alberta, was when I worked as a radio host. And this is going to be exciting for me because I used to work back in the day from 2005 to 2012. I was a radio broadcaster. I worked for Grand Prairie's Classic Rock and More 104.7 Free FM as a evening show host and weekend morning show host. I was that young kid on a classic rock radio station that still had hope in his eyes and was just happy to be where he was in life. And the best part about working for Free FM at the time, which would eventually rebrand to Today FM, and then now I believe they're like a rock station again or something. And the best part about working for 104.7 Free FM was when I did remotes, and I would broadcast from the Eastlink Center every Thursday. And it was people coming up to me and seeing in real life, not just the guy on the radio, but in real life, people would come hang out with me while I was in radio and see that I really was blind. I really was visually impaired. And it was a unique experience because they got to see me for me. And now I wear that as a badge of honor, especially as your blind guy comedian, your blind guy comedy. So I'm so excited to be returning back to Grand Prairie, not as, hey, it's your buddy, your pal, J.R.B. Aronson. Coming up next, April Wine and Our Lady Peace. Then we'll take a look at your 7-day forecast. Now I get to be the guy that is hilarious. I get to make people laugh on stage. I don't have anybody in my ear telling me that, hey, just so you know, only like one person is listening to you, and stop using the word buddy. I had a news producer, not a news producer, a music producer in my ear named JC Coots, and JC was his radio name. And JC, that was one of his critiques about me when we did our weekly on-air checks, was no one's your buddy, no one's your friend. Just say what you got to say and keep it 30 seconds, you know. And I don't have JC yelling in my ear anymore to not, don't tell your audience they're your friends. No one cares, you know. Say what you got to say. Like, it was JC being JC. That's who he was, right? He just wanted me to succeed. Every music director, every producer, every production manager wants you to succeed in radio, and they're just teaching you what they learned in college, you know. So it's so cool that I get to go to Grand Prairie not as your 104.7 Free FM radio announcer, but just as your blind guy comedy, you know, your blind guy comedian. And I'm excited. I am excited because that's going to be like a homecoming experience for me in September when I go back to Grand Prairie as a comedian and not as a radio announcer. And I still think about radio, that's for sure, because radio is super fun. I just never went to broadcasting school for radio, and I was very adamant that I said, hey, I don't really want to go to college because college to me means unequivalent student debt. And I was never, ever ready to take on any debt until the pandemic happened. Am I right? Am I right? We all took on debt because of the pandemic. Anyway, that's our main update today is new tour coming up. Tickets go on sale this Monday, which I believe is the 13th. Monday, July 13th, 2026. Tickets go on sale. If you are watching this blog or reading this blog, listening to this video on the 13th, then just click the link in the YouTube description or keep reading here on blindguycomedy.com on Monday, and there'll be a link to the tickets, and you can buy your tickets before they sell out for the Red Deer Memorial Center show coming up on September 19th, I believe. And yeah, either way, the link will take you to the right date, the right time I'm going to be there, and I get to perform with hypnotist Scott Ward. Looking forward to that. Other than that, there's no real updates regarding Blind Guy Comedy. You know, I am excited. If we have any shows coming up in August, I will let you know. July, I'm spending time with my family. In fact, we're going camping, which I'm looking forward to. I'm sure I'll come up with some great comedy stories from camping. And yeah, it was really, really good. I'm going to end off with some footage. For those of you who actually stayed till the end of the video here, for those of you who can still have a great attention span, which I hope is most of you, I'm going to end off by sharing with you a clip from a stand-up comedy show I did in a garage. That's right, I did this show in a garage. It was the Central Alberta Bullseye Blind Hockey Annual Barbecue, and they asked me to do a few jokes from the top of my head. Of course, I had my handy-dandy Braille notes with me, because me do a show without notes? Come on, man. I'm only human. So hopefully you enjoy this, and there was only about 10 people there, so it may sound like I was performing to an empty room of nothing, but there was 10 people there, and we had such a blast. So what do you guys call yourselves, the band before me that was just up here?
The Bar Down Blues Band.
The Bar Down Blues Band. One more time for them, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. That was quite the performance. I have never seen a blind band before until now. And let me tell you, you should have seen the women. They just can't get enough of them. So the people at home are going to have to take my word for it. For all the other fellow blind people in the audience, I have a tripod with a camera set up right behind the chairs there. So just watch yourself when you walk over there. Me telling a bunch of blind people to watch themselves. I got to tell you though, when Dustin offered me this opportunity, I didn't know what to say. Because for those of you who don't know, all my humor is about being blind. So this is going to go one of two ways. They're either going to really like it, or they're going to think I'm making fun of them. But, either way, it is our life. I asked Dustin, I said, hey, what is my payment for tonight's show? He said, free hot dogs. So I cannot say I'm a starving artist, because he gave me free hot dogs, you know. And my rates are very affordable, especially for food, you know. I wish I could tell you that I have more than blind material, but that's all I bump into is more material. But I've been doing this for almost 10 years, and it's exciting. It really is, because in my opinion, everybody always looks like a 10, right? Because I'd have to get to know you and see how much money I can borrow from you, and then I'll judge you, you know. This was such an easier start to the show for me. I did a show in Innisfail recently, and on the way up on the stage, I bumped into a lady's knee. She had her knee out by accident, and you know, us visually impaired people, we have the white cane, but we don't always use it, right? I thought I could walk up confidently, and I bumped her in the knee, and then I apologized, and I even apologized to her on stage. I said, this is terrible, you know, we're going to have to exchange insurance information now, and just so you know, I go through Intact. The rates are very high because I shouldn't be driving. You know. Fortunately, my wife drives. I couldn't drive. I did once, actually, back in, I think it was 2005. My sister had worked for a paper route through the Grand Prairie Daily Herald Tribune. And she knew I really wanted to drive. So in winter, if the street was clear, while she would be delivering papers, she would call me on the phone and she would say, okay, put it in gear and just let the car drive and go straight. Guys, I felt so alive. Well, the weirdest thing about that experience is she never let me do it in summer. Winter, maybe less people were out in the minus 40 weather, but winter I was allowed to do it. So that was exhilarating. Barney, one of the band members here before me, talked about how he recently ran with an e-bike and now he's getting a helmet, so way to go, Barney, you know. I have an electric scooter. I only drive it when my wife is guiding because there's no way I can do that on my own. You know, there's only so far you can go with, I didn't see you there. And then there's no excuse, right? I'm from Red Deer now. I've lived in Red Deer for nearly 10 years, about as long as my comedy career has started. And I like the city bus. I really do. But using the Red Deer city bus is so frustrating, especially when they fix their potholes, right? Because how else are we supposed to know Walmart is on the right? Because normally you go, all right, Walmart. And then you get the other one, oh no, South End, I've gone too far. So when they fix the pothole, I'm over here like, my landmark is gone, you know? So for all the city representatives watching on YouTube, Facebook, or TikTok, don't fix the potholes. Think of the blind people. We use those for landmarks, right? One of my favorite apps that I use as a blind passenger of a city bus is an app called Move It. And for those of you who don't know, Move It, it tells you when to get off. It tells you your stop is coming up in 3, 2, 1, pull the cord. It's all voice activated. I love Move It. Up until I was in Calgary, I had to do a show, so I took a bus to do a Calgary show. And on their city bus, when you're downtown Calgary, the GPS, it can fail. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was like, your stop is in 2 pulls away. So I calculated. All of a sudden, I'm like, well, where's the warning? I should be able to pull it now. And all of a sudden, the GPS had failed. And it said, your stop was 2 stops ago. So I quickly pulled it, and yeah, you know. And the app is so optimistic. It's like, you only got to walk 1,600 meters behind you. I'm like, you know what that is? That's 1.6 kilometers. Do I look like I go to the gym, you know? Obviously, I quit going to the gym. I wasn't seeing the results. You know? Also, between you and me, I'm lazy, so. I always love stand-up comedy. I figure if you're going to leave a mark on the world, the best way to do it is by making everybody laugh. And yeah, until you walk upon a construction site. I was out for a walk 2 days ago because I'm currently working my way to become an outreach worker, helping the unhoused communities and helping people get back on their feet. That's my end goal. If I do it right, I'll start in September. And it was lunchtime, so I took a little walk to the Millennium Center, they have a nice little cafe downtown Red Deer. Guys, as I was walking, all of a sudden I hear this guy yelling at me, stop! And you know, I have ADHD, so I start singing, in the name of love, you know. Turns out he wasn't going to break my heart. Little did I know, I was walking to a freshly poured concrete sidewalk. Oh, I wanted to leave my mark on the world, but not like that, you know. And I imagine, how could it have gone if that construction worker was not there? Probably I would have stepped in it and then hopefully quickly stepped out. And then you would just see these concrete footprints going to the Millennium Center. And what happened to this guy? We'll never know, but he's alive. So we're good there. So I've been making these t-shirts. I make these on my own. They're called Blind Guy Comedy shirts. It says, I can't see perfectly, but I can see you. Because when you get close enough to me in a conversation, I will kind of have a glimpse of what you look like, but it's all blurry. I was so impressed with these shirts. I ordered 18 of them. And it just takes that one comedian to tell you their opinion, right? I was showing this to one of my fellow comedians. His name's Bradley Layden. And Bradley's like, I like the shirt, but it's kind of creepy. I can see you. I'm like, okay, all right. It's ruined, but no, I still like it. It's still nice. It's got the, for those of you who can't see, it's got a circular face with sunglasses, and it says Blind Guy Comedy, and the white text is at the top, and the bottom text is at the bottom. And why I like this logo, I use black, white, red, because it is our colors of our white cane. So, it's perfect. So I sell these for about $25 each, or you can get, if you spend $100, I'll give you a fifth one for free, because gas is not cheap anymore, right? All right, no one else drives. Okay, I am in front of a blind audience. This is great. I gotta tell you though, it's nerve-wracking because all I do is do blind humor. I educate people on what it's like being us, but it's in a more creative way. So trying not to get in my own head here, but so far so good. I think the best part about being us is we can't risk saying compliments to the people in our lives because they know we can't see very good, right? Like if I tell my wife, "Did you lose weight? You look great." She'll be like, "Oh, stop it," But I touched you the other day. You felt okay? Nope. You learn, right? The secret to marriage is don't say anything at all, right? All right, just me and Hans over there. That's good. Hans is like, "We're coming up to our 10th year. He's right." Because you try to relate to your sighted friends, and it doesn't work. Like I was in college in Grand Prairie. Back in 2000, I think it was 2014, I was in college working on my academic upgrading. And my friends are always like, "Wow, look at her, she's so pretty. JR, look, she's so hot." I obviously can't see that far, so I'm over here like, "Yeah, it smells like she uses Purex and Bounce." It just makes me sound creepy, but that's me trying to fit in, right? It's not worth it. Don't do it, right? I really don't like these things. Have you guys heard of these things? They're called self-checkouts, right? You can check your groceries and do all that. I don't like self-checkouts because I can't check myself out. All right. It's adorable. I just made up that one 2 days ago. I tried using a self-checkout once, and I accidentally purchased 1,000 reusable bags. Fortunately, my wife was able to correct it, but I think we all have a reusable bag problem, don't we? We just leave them at home. Look at all you reusable bag addicts. Yeah, all right. Just gonna see here. I travel a lot doing stand-up, and airports are like my worst fear because no airport is the same. You have to be in an airport a few times before you get the hang of it. I was in the Edmonton International Airport. Did you know in order to get into that thing, depending what entrance you go into, there's a revolving door? Guys, I was stuck in that door for 3 hours. Nearly missed my flight. Just kept going round and round. Soon I was listening to "You Spin My Head Right Around," just to deal with it. I didn't know how planes worked. I was so naive. I remember when I was 30 years old, I was listening to the CBC, because apparently once you turn 30, you can handle CBC broadcasting. CBC Radio 1, I do miss Doug Dirks. He was a fun guy to listen to in the afternoon. Well, anyway, on CBC, they were talking about how we were at 80 cents per US dollar. So the CBC was celebrating, right? They're like, "We're almost on par." Of course, I start yelling at the radio. I'm like, "No, we're not." And then I made up this dumb joke where I was like, "Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas because we can never afford to come back." And then my wife went to go visit her family in America, in New Hampshire, and my wife said, "JR, you actually get return flights?" I'm like, "Oh, that's how it works. All right." Good stuff. Yeah. One day I'll go. I've never left Canada. One day I will leave Canada. The furthest I've been to is the Pearson Airport. Imagine playing Frogger on that highway. It's not, because I always tell people, my life is like Frogger. Not just Red Deer, but everywhere, because my biggest concern is if I get hit by a fine driver, I won't see my life flash before my eyes, right? Like, I hope in my next spiritual life I'm not blind, because could you imagine that awkward conversation between God, or as we call him, the Creator in my culture? Just like, "Come to the light, my son." I'm over here like, "Where is it?" He's like, "Oh, geez, good point." Yeah. You can follow me wherever you get your social media information. I'm on Facebook as The Blind Guy Comedy Experience. I'm on TikTok as Blind Guy Comedy. You can check out my new improved website called blindguycomedy.com, where it's just a black screen and you got to go by feel, right? Because that's the weirdest question I get as a performer is, how did you, and I'm like, "You go by feel," But seriously though, isn't it insulting just how many songs there are about being blind, but the artists themselves are not blind, right? We got like Hootie and the Blowfish, every time I look at you, I go blind. You know, that's a classic. Or you got Nickelback over there. You know, I'm sick and tired of the sense of feeling. He starts off his song with tired living like a blind man, you know, and then you got Corey Hart over there talking about wearing his sunglasses at night, you know. I don't know if that's a blind song, but to me that is, right? I think the only people that should get away with making songs about being blind are like Ray Charles, because that's lived experience. But hey, you know what? That's my time here. I did all my jokes in Braille so the comedians wouldn't take them normally. Now with you guys here, I was like, oh my God, what if they take them and read them? For all you know, this could be erotic stuff. No, I'm kidding, it's not. But that's my time. Let's bring up Dustin. Thank you so much, everybody. This was fun.
That was really good. Feel free to eat more food as a payment.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you for keeping up to date with the Blind Guy Comedy blog. If you want, I hope you do want, let me tell you what you want, what you really, really want. You can check out blindguycomedy.com and definitely hit the subscribe button there at blindguycomedy.com. It gives me direct access to your email, so whenever I have a new show announcement, you're the first one to know, because over at blindguycomedy.com, we have 69 loyal fans. Will you be number 70? Let's find out. Thanks for checking out today's video. I will catch you in the next one. This is Blind Guy Comedy. J.R. Bjarnson.